Some of the challenges that we had doing this project, we had tight deadlines for in-water work. The other big obstacles that we had is we were trucking concrete from the Folsom's Lincoln plant. That required us to put stasis into the mix. Working with big gang forms and fast pour rates on short sections of wall. That required a lot of communication between us and the Folsom's dispatch. We dealt with high waters through this project. We had Hurricane Lee that added to that. Installing the form liner, that was a challenge that we've never dealt with before. It was a heavy textured form liner. The form liners themselves were very heavy. Make sure that everything was shaped right and looked right. So when we stripped in the concrete, everything looked appropriate and high quality as it should. What we had to deal with was staining the wall. We went through quite a few different processes of staining and trying to give different looks. The community was looking for a very specific look for the wall. They wanted to match the railroad abutment walls that were adjacent to this job site. So we did a mock-up wall and various versions of staining and let the community take a look at it, and they ultimately chose what they wanted the look of the wall to be. And then that was the look that we went for when we stained the wall.
Wear walls on the inside of the Fishway, there was some pretty complex tops to them. They were different elevations and they all had to slope with the top of the wall. Pulling the form liner, we had a form liner on the exposed part of the wall that we had to make look like a granite stone, and forming on a sloped slabs, you know, for the Fishway part, you know, keeping our forms level on a pitch slab.
Working next to a waterway, working next to a river or a stream has its own challenges. We're building the Fishway right into the river. Sergeant actually had to move the river and change the direction of the river, so that brought on its own challenges. We had a 120-ton crane there. We had a real steep slope getting down, so we had to make sure that guys had proper access and egress to get in there. Luckily for us, we had a really good leadership team between, you know, Rich Shea, superintendent, Wes O'Hara, foreman, and Brent Hardy, the crane operator. I'd say the biggest highlight for us is 0 lost time injuries and 0 total injuries throughout the whole project. Like I said before, working on a waterway, involving the crane, doing some type of work that we really haven't done a ton of work like this before. It was really impressive to have 0 injuries.
I'd say the job impacted the community in a couple of different ways. It's pretty interesting to see how the Fishway is going to create species of fish to pass up through and continue up into the watershed. But then the other part of that is it's also a very nice park over around where the dam is. There's a walking area on top of the Fishway and the dam in order to actually walk and look and see in it. Then on the other side of the river, there's a park and a place to set where you can actually see the side of the dam and the Fishway that has the inlay in it of the cobblestone that matches the surrounding area, as well as the stain. So it's really given them a nice focal point in the town that they should be very proud of, and equally as proud of as we are that we created. I would have to say probably the biggest takeaway on this project that we got as a company, meaning NS Giles, was to learn and see how, if companies put their mind to it and they're dedicated to the project, they can overcome a lot of obstacles. We definitely learned from Sergeant that they could do that, and we were in it with them as a team member to help them to overcome the obstacles of the water, the redesign, being flooded out, changing the cofferdam, and being in there and seeing that and seeing how they worked, and then we partnered with them. It showed us if you put your mind to it and you're dedicated to it, we can get projects done.